Welcome to Reddit Revenge, where every wrong meets its right. They say you never really know a person until you're at your weakest. For me, that truth hit harder than the cancer diagnosis itself. Imagine this. 4 years of what I believed was a strong relationship, 2 successful careers, 2 families blending together, and dreams of building a forever home. We had plans, big ones. A wedding, a new ADA-friendly house tailored for her future needs, raising our daughters side by side. She was my partner, my confidant, the first woman I had truly opened my heart to since losing my wife years before. I thought we were unshakable. But the reality? She was only there for the version of me that was strong, fit, and thriving. The moment life demanded sacrifice, she revealed who she truly was. When I was diagnosed with stomach cancer, she sent me a single text message that shattered everything. I love you, but I can't see myself taking care of someone this sick in the long term. That was it. No discussion, no compassion, no goodbye in person, just a text. It should have broken me. For a while, it did. But pain has a strange way of sharpening you. And as you'll soon see, while she thought she was walking away scot-free, I was already holding the receipts of her betrayal, literal invoices that would one day leave her destitute. This isn't just a breakup story. This is a story of betrayal, karma, and revenge served colder than chemo treatments. From the outside, we looked like the perfect couple. Both of us were established professionals, financially stable, raising daughters who seemed to blend seamlessly into a new makeshift family. Her daughter was 11, mine was 16. We had dinners together, family movie nights, weekends at the lake. There was laughter in the house, and I honestly believed we were building a foundation that would last a lifetime. The centerpiece of our future was the house we planned to build. Because she had been diagnosed with a neurological disease that would eventually confine her to a wheelchair, we designed a home that would be fully ADA-friendly. Wider hallways, ramps, special bathroom designs, the works. It wasn't just a house. It was our promise to each other. A symbol that no matter what life threw our way, we'd face it together. And I wasn't just dreaming, I was investing, literally. To help increase the resale value of her current home, I put in over $30,000 of my own money through my side construction business. Landscaping, renovations, permits, labor, I handled it all. We had an agreement. When her home sold, she would pay me back in full. Every project had an invoice, properly documented and filed. But I never pressed her about it. Why would I? We were in love, and our futures were tied together. At least that's what I thought. What I didn't realize then was that every dollar I sunk into that house was going to become my ultimate weapon. I wasn't just building her a home. I was unknowingly building my revenge. It all started with something small. At least that's what I told myself. I was fit, ate clean, and went to the gym daily. But suddenly, my appetite vanished. I was nauseous all the time, vomiting without warning, even passing blood. At first, I brushed it off as stress, maybe an ulcer. But then I noticed the swelling in my abdomen, and deep down, I knew something wasn't right. The tests were endless. Blood work, scans, and finally, a biopsy. The day I got the results, I'll never forget. A golf ball-sized tumor. Stomach cancer. The words hit me like a truck, and for the first time in years, I felt truly afraid. She was there at first, driving me to appointments, staying over more often, even having her daughter spend weekends at my house. We talked about selling one of our homes and moving in together until the new one was built. I had excellent supplemental insurance, a long-term illness plan, and with one sale we'd have been financially secure despite everything. It seemed like the logical next step. But almost as soon as the words left my mouth, something in her changed. She started pulling away. Little excuses, subtle shifts. Her daughter stopped coming around. She had reasons not to stay the night. The woman who once told me we'd face anything together suddenly couldn't even sit through a chemo session with me. And then, one evening, as I lay exhausted from radiation, she sent me the message that shattered my heart and burned itself into my memory forever. I love you, but I can't see myself taking care of someone this sick in the long term. I don't think we should see each other any longer. Through a text. When that text came through, it felt like the air was sucked out of my lungs. I sat there staring at my phone, rereading the words over and over, hoping maybe I had misunderstood. But no, she had just broken off a 4-year relationship, our engagement, our plans for a future, all in a few careless lines of text. It destroyed me. I won't lie. This wasn't just any breakup. She was the first woman I had opened up to since losing my wife years earlier. I had trusted her with my plans, my money, my children's stability, and she had walked away because I was too sick. I told myself to be mature about it. If she didn't want this life, fine. I packed her belongings neatly into boxes, loaded them into my truck, and drove over to her house. My intention was simple: drop them on the back porch while she was at work, avoid any drama, and be done with it. But when I walked around the back of the house, carrying one of the boxes, I froze. Through the glass door into the living room, I saw her. She wasn't alone. She was on the couch, with a man. And not just any man. The lifelong friend she had introduced me to. The same guy we'd had dinner with, gone on vacations with. A man I had shaken hands with and welcomed into my home. There they were, tangled together like teenagers sneaking around, while the boxes of her things sat heavy in my arms. I quietly set the box down, turned, and left without a word. Later, I sent her a short text. "Your things are on my porch. Pick them up when you're ready." I didn't mention what I saw. Not yet. For months, I buried what I had seen. I told myself it didn't matter anymore. She had left, I had cancer to fight, and dragging myself into more emotional chaos wouldn't help me heal. But the image of her on that couch never left my mind. It replayed at night, every time I lay awake after chemo, sick and weak, wondering how someone could be so cruel. 8 or 9 months later, I finally got confirmation. Out of the blue, I got a message from his ex-girlfriend. She was furious, bitter, and most importantly talkative. She told me they had broken up because he confessed to cheating with my fiancé. And not just once. According to her, their affair went back to the very months when she and I were still finalizing blueprints for our new house, when I was busting my back building up the value of her property. Hearing it confirmed lit a fire in me. The heartbreak, the humiliation, the betrayal. It all hardened into something sharper. This wasn't just about her leaving because she couldn't handle my sickness. This was about lies stacked on lies, all while I invested money, time, and love into a future she was never planning to share with me. And that's when I remembered. The folder, neatly filed away in my office, was every invoice, every signed agreement, every penny of work I had poured into her house. $32,680 worth of projects. All documented, all unpaid. I had been too kind, too trusting, too in love to ever push for payment before. But now it was time to cash in. The day I pulled out that thick folder, it felt like opening a loaded weapon I had forgotten I owned. Every invoice was there, dated, signed, backed by my business. Landscaping, kitchen remodel, ADA ramp installation, electrical upgrades, all done to increase the value of her house, all logged and untouched. She had promised payment after the sale, but instead of honoring that, she had honored some other man in my bed. I contacted my attorney immediately. He flipped through the paperwork, raised an eyebrow, and said the sweetest words I had heard in over a year. "You've got her. Completely." Within days, lien proceedings were in motion. That meant she couldn't sell her house without paying off what she owed me first, plus accrued interest, plus legal fees. And the timing couldn't have been better. A real estate agent's sign was already planted in her yard. She was planning to sell any week now, probably using my unpaid work as the selling point. For once, luck wasn't cruel to me. It was merciless to her. When the legal notices were delivered, I imagined the look on her face. The same woman who had once demanded we plan a home to accommodate her future wheelchair was now staring down a mountain of debt she had thought I'd just forgotten about. Except I hadn't. I had kept every piece of paper, every receipt. This wasn't impulsive revenge. This was cold, meticulous justice. And it had only just begun. When the dust finally settled, the numbers spoke louder than any argument she could make. Over $32,000 in unpaid invoices, compounded by nearly 2 years of interest, plus plus my attorney's fees. By the time the sale of her house closed, she walked away with barely $10,000 left in her pocket. That was all. A woman who once planned a brand new custom home with me was now forced to crawl back into her daughter's crowded household. 2 grandchildren, a son-in-law, and now her with nothing to her name but bitterness. She had gone from picturing herself as a wife in a dream home to sitting in a spare bedroom, living off disability checks, trapped by the very illness we had once planned for together. It wasn't me who pushed her there. It was her choices, her lies, her betrayal. I had simply held her accountable with the truth and the paperwork she thought I'd never use. And the irony? The very projects she once bragged about, how her house was finally worth something, were the same ones that sank her. Every flower bed, every remodel, every ADA feature had my name on it. They didn't just raise her home's value. They destroyed her future. I didn't celebrate. I didn't gloat. But I slept better than I had in years. For the first time since that text message that shattered me, I felt at peace. Over a year later, fate threw us back into the same space. I was out running errands when I saw her. Only this time, she wasn't the woman I once planned a life with. She looked decades older, her skin pale and tired, her shoulders hunched. And there it was, the wheelchair. The very future we had talked about preparing for had arrived faster than either of us imagined. She tried to smile when she saw me, but the spark in her eyes was gone. We exchanged a few polite words, cordial, almost mechanical. I didn't mention the past, and she didn't dare bring it up. After a few minutes, I excused myself and walked away. But inside, the contrast hit me like a freight train. For years earlier, she had left me because she couldn't take care of someone so sick in the long term. And yet here she was, more fragile, more dependent, and more alone than I had ever been. Life had turned the tables in a way neither of us could have scripted. I didn't feel anger anymore, not even triumph. Just a quiet realization. Karma doesn't need fireworks. Sometimes it simply arrives in silence, with the weight of inevitability. A few days after that awkward encounter, my phone rang. It was her younger daughter. She spoke kindly, almost nostalgically, telling me she remembered the good times our families had shared, and asked if we could maybe hang out sometime. I gave a vague, non-committal answer, thanked her for reaching out, and left it at that. But then the calls kept coming, this time from my ex herself. At first, she was polite, almost formal. She apologized for the way she ended things, said she regretted how cruel she had been. I stayed cordial but short, never giving her more than a few polite words before excusing myself. Over the weeks, her messages grew longer, more personal. She talked about missing me, about how her life had fallen apart, how lonely she felt. Then, one night, she asked the question I had half expected, half dreaded. Do you think there's any chance we could ever find our way back to each other? Reading those words, I felt the same chill I had felt years earlier when her breakup text came through. But this time, the power was in my hands. I stared at her message for a long moment, and then a slow smile spread across my face. After everything, her betrayal, the lies, the abandonment when I needed her most, she had the audacity to ask if we could rekindle what we had. So I crafted my reply, short and sharp, but weighted with every ounce of truth she once threw at me. I can't see myself taking care of someone so sick in the long term. Remember that box I left on your back porch? Did you think your lifelong friend carried it over from my house? Good luck to you. Goodbye. I hit send and felt a wave of closure wash over me. No anger, no sadness, just the cold, calm satisfaction of turning her own cruelty back on her. For years, I had carried the weight of her betrayal. But in that moment, I realized I didn't need revenge anymore. She had already destroyed her own life. I had simply made sure she faced the consequences. And with that, I closed the chapter on her forever, finally free.